Travelling on into that sunless region known as the Land of the Blessed, the good knight Alexander of Macedon, accompanied by 40 friends, 100 slaves, and 1,200 reliable soldiers, found a misty waste uncrossed by any path or track, and decided that the tents should be pitched. On the following day he took 1,000 armed men and left in search for the end of the world. Those remaining in camp grew bored and restless in their long absence, and wandered the countryside for diversion. One morning 2 soldiers stumbled upon a pool at the foot of a cliff surrounded by clusters of tall poppies with luminous purple petals such as they had never seen before. The water of this hidden pond was perfectly still, of an iridescent blue so deep that after looking at it for more than a moment neither of them could be sure if his eyes were open or closed. Across its placid surface shimmered wisps of a silvery mist that in the intricacies of its sinuous coil suggested brief glimpses of long-deserted palaces, voluptuous gardens overgrown, vast cavalries on the move through its shadowy vistas, the merest flashes of a vanished world, imponderably old and incomparably beautiful. Awed by this equivocal vision, they both knelt to the muddy bank to get a closer look. A faint whispering on the breeze, like the mingled voices from far away of a multitude of departed souls, lured them to dip their hands into the marvelous water. Upon doing so, each was rewarded with a warm wave of ecstasy that washed through his body. Forgotten sense of an early youth rushed back into their memory, those of his first days in his mother's care, and all the colours of the little village of his birth vividly burst forth in his imagination, as stirring as if both seen for the first time and after a lifetime's absence. One soldier, shocked by such intense sensations, pulled his hand out, experiencing a sharp pain precisely opposite to the pleasure he had felt. A pang of regret swept over him, as if in one stroke he had lost everything he had ever held dear. Meanwhile, his comrade, discovering that the delightful feeling ceased almost immediately after contact, plunged his other hand, then both arms into the dazzling blue liquid, until he leaned precariously over it to the point of falling in. When his partner pulled him back by the shoulders, he shrieked in agony. As acute as his pain was after withdrawing one arm, he could not imagine the torment his companion must have undergone. He released his grip, and the other dove headlong into the spectral water to disappear without casting a ripple. He thought he saw his face flicker among the silvery wisps for an instant, then evidence into nothingness. Terrified by what had just happened, he rushed back to camp to tell the other soldiers, many of whom ventured into the wilderness to witness such a strange pun for themselves. Most were sufficiently frightened by the smart received upon pulling a cautious finger out of it, but several shared the fate of its discoverer, losing themselves to the ecstatic nostalgia and diving in, leaving no trace behind. When Alexander, upon returning from his quest from the world's end, learned of the charmed water's fatal effect on his troops, he ordered a company of slaves with pickaxes and shovels to weaken the face of the overhanging cliff, and horsemen with chains to pull it down, burying the pool with its secret forever.